Accountability is the single greatest threat to getting things done inside of an organization. Accountability transcends age of company, it transcends geography, it transcends industries, and it transcends size. So it doesn't matter whether you're 3 people, 30 people, 300 people, it's an issue because you're working with people. Every business is a people business, and that's what makes accountability so hard, and it's what makes it so important. I've walked in the shoes of CEOs. I've run divisions of companies. Today, I work all over the world with CEOs and their leadership teams, helping them to improve performance. So I encounter the real-life, day-to-day struggles that these successful companies deal with. I wrote this book because leaders tell me that accountability is so hard for them. They wrestle with it. And all organizations wrestle with accountability in much the same way. It's just a degree of complexity that changes from organization to organization. Accountability is doing what you said you would do within the time frame you said you were going to do it. And when those promises are not fulfilled, when those commitments are not met, and a leader does not do anything about it, that's a double standard, and a double standard hurts everybody, starting with the leader. Leadership is hard, or there would be more leaders. Accountability gets a bad rap. People really think of it as a conversation, and it can be a conversation. They think of it perhaps as a series of tools. They may think in terms of carrots and sticks. And what I have seen as a result of the work that I do with companies all over the world and the companies that I interviewed and the research that I gathered is that a culture where accountability matters is really based more on purpose and trust and fulfillment. The most powerful thing that people will get out of this book is that accountability starts with them. It starts with me. So before you can hold someone else accountable, you need to understand what matters to you so that you can then hold yourself accountable. And only when you know what you stand for and what you don't stand for are you able to establish those core values that really mean something, that aren't just cheap words on a poster, but that are actually being lived out inside of your organization. The thing that I learned later than I would have liked is that to be a leader, you really need to love what you do. You need to love the people that you're doing it with, and you need to love the place that you're doing it. And when you get that right, a lot of the other things will fall into place. And when we lose sight of that, if it's just about the money, or it's just about the accomplishment, or whatever the case may be, and not, wow, I'm doing this because it really fulfills me, then we're missing the boat. The hardest thing that any leader faces is getting from point A to point B. It's really a game of execution. And a lot of times we get really focused on, how are we going to get there? What's the strategy for this? And really what I would tell you is that it's the people that you have. I would say that hiring for attitude, not just skill, is more important than ever. Because if you hire somebody that does not fit your culture, who does not share your values, it doesn't matter if you agree that this is where we need to go. It's going to be a struggle all the way moving from point A to point B. As I interviewed people and I listened to what they were telling me, it became clear that accountability, there's no silver bullet for accountability. And I think a lot of us, particularly leaders looking for a quick fix on performance issues, believe that, oh, if I have this conversation or if I just do this, that will fix the issues that I'm having with performance. And what I found is that a culture where accountability matters is really based on a set of principles. And those principles are what I call the 7 pillars of accountability: character, unity, learning, tracking, urgency, reputation, and evolving. And those 7 pillars spell culture. It's a great way to remember that all 7 pillars must be present, and it's also a great reminder that our culture is our best predictor of future performance. Accountability is a support system for winners. Winners love the clarity. They love to be tracked. They love to see that the work that they are doing is making a difference, that is helping the organization move from point A to point B. It's the people that aren't on board, who aren't fully committed, that don't like the clarity, that don't like tracking. Tracking does the heavy lifting of accountability. The greatest paradox in business starts with the fact that we have values that we don't treat as valuable. And when you have these values that are simply cheap words on a wall, and then you expect people to be held accountable, how in the world can you do that? That's an uphill battle. Clarity creates confidence. It creates confidence in terms of this is where we are and this is where we're going, this is how we're going to get there, this is the role that each of us will play in order to help us get there. And so the reason that most people miss it is that they fail to set those clear expectations up front, and those expectations can and should be based on company values. The biggest takeaway for this book is, wow, I know I needed to do that. Now I understand why that's so important, and I can do it. The companies that I work with are winners, but even the best, most successful companies, even the companies that I interviewed, always are looking for ways to get better. My book outlines a very simple, straightforward, practical approach to help you improve your performance.